Okay, this is the Algebra 1 video lesson for the first half of lesson 5.3, slope-intercept form. So this is a form of a line that is an equation relating y and x using the slope and the intercept. So the equation, the linear equation, that means the equation of a line. This is of a non-vertical line, is of this form, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So that's where it crosses the y-axis, right, on the graph. You have an x-axis, sorry, that's a y-axis, sorry, y-axis, x-axis, right? So wherever the line crosses the y-axis is the y-intercept. So that's where x equals 0, and that number is b. So the number, your y-coordinate when x is 0. Okay, so let's look at this first problem. It says, what are the slope and intercept of the graph of y equals 5x minus 2? Well, we can see here if it's of this form, so the number in front of the x doesn't include the x, the number, just the number, remember slope is just a number, is 5. So the slope, right, is 5, and then the y-intercept is the number that comes after the x, which is negative 2. So the y-intercept, or the b, no, y-intercept equals negative 2. That means the point would be 0, negative 2 on the graph. Okay, so try this on your own. This might be one of your favorite questions of all of algebra. It's nice and easy. What's the slope and what's the y-intercept? So press pause, write it down, and then check back for your solution. Okay, so you can see here the slope is negative 1/2. Be careful you don't write x. That's really the only thing I see that people get this wrong, is they just take this whole thing. It's the number that's being multiplied times the x. So just a number, remember slope is just a number. And then the y-intercept is positive, because it's a plus, 2/3. Okay, so let's take this another step. We're actually now going to start with the slope and the y-intercept and then write the equation. So again, we're going to start with our slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b, where slope is negative 4 over 5 and the y-intercept is 7. So you just plug it in. Y equals negative 4 over 5 times x plus 7. And it's plus because this number is positive. Okay, so here, write your own. Here's the slope, here's the y-intercept. Press pause, write it down yourself, and then check back for the answer. Okay, hopefully you got y equals 3 over 2 minus 1, right? We just plug in the 3 over 2, times it by the x, and then it's a minus 1 since the y-intercept is negative. Okay, moving on. Now we have a graph where we can then figure out we'll try to figure out what the line is from this graph. So you can tell with slope-intercept by looking at the graph for the slope and then looking for the graph for the intercept and plugging it in. So in this case, we can see our b is going to be right where it crosses this line here. So that's going to be at negative 2. So that's our b, right? Y equals mx plus b. So this is going to be y equals mx minus 2. So we know that these are wrong, right? Because they don't have the minus 2 at the end. All right, and then we need to figure out the slope. Let's find 2 points. Let's actually start with this point. And then this one crosses there. So let's go, this means we go up 2. So our slope is rise over run. Our rise here is plus 2. And then we're just going to run 1. So the slope is 2. So we plug that in here. So it's going to be 2x minus 2. So here we go. That's the answer. Okay, so try that on your own here. And after you press pause, and then check back for the solution. Okay, so the answer here is y equals negative x plus 2. You can see there's the b is 2. The slope, right, it's going down from left to right, and then just goes down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. So that means it is negative 1. Negative 1 over 1 is negative 1. So you plug in negative 1 for m, you plug in 2 for b. And I do accept this answer, but I want you to get used to algebra. We no longer write that 1, so in front of the x. 1 times any variable you just don't have to write. So this is y equals negative x plus 2. Okay. Moving on, what equation in slope-intercept form represents a line that passes through the points? So here we can figure out the actual equation from 2 points. Remember, we can figure out the slope from those 2 points, then we can plug one of those points in and figure out what the b is. So let's start with our y equals mx plus b. And we do know that the formula for the slope, right, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And let's call this one x1, y1. That's x2, y2. And let's plug in negative 8 minus 1 over 5 minus 2. So we have negative 9 over 3, which reduces to negative 3. So then we have y equals negative 3, oops, let's make that a little cleaner, negative 3x plus b. Okay, so to figure out what the b is, that's the last thing we need to know. We can actually take these, take one of the points. I like this one because it's 2, 1, it's just lower numbers. And so you can plug that 2 in for x and that 1 in for y, and then solve for b. So let's do 1 equals negative 3 times 2 plus b. So I just plugged that 2 in there and that 1 in, oops. Right, the 2 in for that x and then the 1 in for the y. And then we can just use our algebra. 1 equals negative 6 plus b. We can add 6 to both sides, so 7 equals b. So our answer is y equals negative 3x plus 7. So we get the slope from the formula, and then we get the b from the algebra when you just use, and this would work also if you had plugged in 5 and negative 8 for y and x too, either one. I just like to pick the one that looks like it's going to be easier to solve. Okay, and then there is one for you to try on your own. What equation in slope-intercept form represents the line that passes through the points? And I will remind you that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And the slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So press pause and try this one on your own. Check back for the answer, and then we'll be done. Okay, so for this one, we get the slope of 1/2. So if you plug that in and then take a point, I think I took this point because there was a 1 there. So negative 3 times 1. Put the 1 in, put the negative 3 in. This became negative 3 equals 1/2 plus b. So subtract 1/2 from both sides. If you just do decimals, you get negative 3.5, but 7 over 2, 7 divided by 2 is 3.5, so the fraction negative 7/2 also works. So if you did it with a fraction, y equals 1/2, x equals 7 over 2, or if you did it with decimals, y equals 0.5, x minus 3.5, both are fine. Okay, that's it, time for practice.